Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading. These are general readings. We take what works, leave what doesn't. Check your other major placements if I don't find your storyline on this one. And yeah, we're starting with the Oracle Mystical Moments for an intuitive vibe here. Okay. Oh, there's a lot of watching and waiting, protecting, because there's some immature energy involved here. Dreaming. Let's start with Sleeping Beauty's dream. This is a dream of security, a dream of safety, a dream of a secure home, a safe home. This could be subconsciously motivating a lot of your actions. Obviously, safety and security is a very foundational subconscious need and conscious need, of course. But so this could be being motivated by a need for security and a need for safety and a need for that for yourself or for somebody else. And there is a dream here of security. This is challenging though, because we have this Lorelei energy. This is immature, emotional energy. So there's some, we want the security, right? This is like heavy duty earth, dreaming of the security of earth, fantasizing about earth, of like a groundedness or a safety or something like that. And then, but this is very challenging because we have this very wishy-washy, fishy energy here. We have a little immature mermaid. They've created some sort of disruption. This could be you or this could be somebody else. They've created some sort of disruption. Here's these people. I get the sense that these people all want this security and this safety, right? They're just out here fishing, trying to make a living. I'm getting a sense that this is revenge. Like a little, well, she's supposed to be passive, but I just got the message that there could be some revenge going on here as far as creating instability. She's supposed to, in general, the way I read this card is that we've got this mermaid who's just out playing around, doing her thing, and it creates a lot of upheaval, just incidentally, just by, you know, she might have said something or done something, but there's a lot of emotional upheaval and frustration here, and a sense of a lot of insecurity. Her own insecurity has created insecurity for other people. Somebody's actions have created some sort of upheaval, and there could be some tenseness in the air as we're all watching and waiting for what she does next. Does she trot off with this boat, with this anchor? Does she just drop the anchor and move on? There's a lot of tension here about what happens next. And I did get a very quick glimpse of a possibility of someone seeking revenge here for something that may have been done in the past. All we're wanting right now is some peace, some happiness, some security, but there is this really tense energy created by someone's emotional immaturity, which what is revenge other than, you know, we can just move on, we can just, you know, do what's right for us, whether that's punitive or perceived as punitive when in fact we're just doing our thing, is you know, up for consideration here. And then we have Under My Umbrella. So you're protecting something, right? There's this possible dream for security. There is something, you know, and these fishermen in this boat, they're protective of their livelihood. It's just this very tense energy of what's this person going to do next. They're very protective of their livelihood. We have this protection energy, having left yourself a little bit out in the cold to a little bit vulnerable as you protect something else, a dream. So we already have this dream of security, could be financial security, could be home life security, that we have this dream of security. We have this very insecure, intense situation surrounding that. You may be protecting something at your own expense. I don't know if that's good or bad. Sometimes that's necessary, right? Our children sometimes need to be protected at our own expense and cared for, even though we don't feel like doing it right then. And there are several other things like that, you know. So that it's okay to do that. Not only okay, but it's part of the job. It's part of the deal sometimes that does come up. So you are protecting something. yeah, a little bit at your own expense. Maybe this dream, maybe somebody else, in this tense, emotionally tense situation. And then we also have the observer here, and I feel like this is part of this this Lorelei card here, and the observer is sitting on this boat. Well, we have her in a field, but I got the sense that there's this watching and waiting what's going to happen. Watching this Lorelei character, this immature emotional energy, watching this situation unfold a little bit tensely, very focused, maybe allowing some distractions to come in. Distractions can be really good, especially if we're hyper-focused on something or ruminating on something. Some sort of distraction is a better way to go there. So ideas are happening of what could happen in reality, of what you see, the possibilities. And there's a sense of the intuition or some sort of inspiration coming closer. Hasn't caused us to move yet, but there's a lot of passivity here. We have this active Lorelei character who's creating the upheaval, either intentionally or unintentionally, creating upheaval. And then we have this dream that we've been very protective of, and we're just kind of watching and waiting here. About watching and waiting, watching very closely. It's a mediated watching, so it could be through social media. It could be you're spying on your neighbors with your, what am I doing? With your binoculars. I've never had the impulse to do that. All right, Capricorn, this is your past. Whoopsie. This is your present, your inner landscape, what's at issue, your environment, to-do list, and possible outcome. Holy moly. So we have, out of 7 cards here, we have 5 cups cards. So that means we're dealing with a lot of emotional intensity. I mean, and then we've got the mermaid. She lives in water. The fisherman, they get their livelihoods from emotion, from water. This one living in water. No wonder we're dreaming of the earth and the security of this. This one's getting a deluge of water, being left exposed, possibly. Oh yeah, being left exposed to some emotional element, somebody else's feelings and emotions, right? Being vulnerable, feeling vulnerable to the emotional behaviors of others. Emotions are so powerful and important, and they're one of our senses, I feel like, and it's very important to listen to them and integrate, as we do with our senses, integrate that into what we're deciding, right? So, but not necessarily letting it rule everything. But definitely allowing them an important place of prominence in how we move through the world. Okay, so in your recent past, you have 6 of Cups. Praise, you have achieved something, accomplished something, and there's some praise and recognition coming from your community and your people for what you did. There was something that you did that was, I want to say, like raised everybody's boat. Not just yours, but you achieved something, and a lot of people came along for the ride, enjoyed the success with you, and you were honored for this success, and you enjoyed that. You enjoyed, receiving that that recognition and that honor. Of course, that is so crucial to, humans are social species. We survive by interacting. We survive by mutual agreement and working together. And what am I trying to say? We survive by, there's a word for it, and I can't remember it, so I'm pulling in every other possible word around it. So we survive through cooperation. I think that is the word I'm looking for. We survive through cooperation. So having this praise from our community is actually part of our survival instinct, and knowing that we are not about to be banished from the community, knowing that we're valued by these people that help sustain us and keep us alive as we do them. Then we're moving into our current situation, though, is the Eight of Cups. All right, that was great. You accomplished something really awesome and cool, and people liked it. But it's not enough for you. It might be for them, so there might be some incomprehension as to why you want more, why this isn't enough for you, but it's not. You have this sense of there's something more for you, and it's calling to you. She's like standing on the precipice of this void, that her path leads her forward into something else. This has been fine, this has been good, but it's just not quite enough. It hasn't been fulfilling for her, or this for you, for this character. It hasn't been as fulfilling as you would have liked. It was important and it was good and it was part of your path, this thing that you accomplished that people appreciated and praised you for. But it's not your end all and be all. This isn't your final resting spot. This isn't where you stop. Something's calling you forward, this void, this unknown, but it's kind of known. You do have some sort of intuition about what is calling you forward, but it may be incomprehensible to other people. But it's calling you, you know, out of the crowd, away from, you know, a lot of other people have found satisfaction in this thing, in this situation. You don't. That's just not how you're wired. You're not wired to be satisfied with that situation. Not that they're all idiotic peons that, you know, don't know what's really valuable. It's that your heart and your intuition is calling you out of the norm, out of what other people find satisfying and good. So then we have your hopes, your fears, is the King of Swords. So this is an energy that you're hoping for, or this is a person, male or female, that you would like to communicate with or connect with. So King of Swords, this is a communicator. This is someone who's very fair. They really think things through, and they can see both sides of the story, and they're very fair and very precise in their communication, precise in their thinking, but it's also tempered with some mercy. They can be of two minds. They can, and yet still function and communicate very clearly. They do like to hear both sides of the story and they do take that into account. So this is either an energy where you're trying to see both sides to this thing, you're trying to see someone else's perspective, or you're trying to temper your community, or you'd like to be better able, you'd like to master the ability of tempering your communication so that it's easier to be received. This is a much more effective way of communicating. Sometimes we just focus on communicating clearly, but we forget the part where we need to communicate effectively. Like we need to share what we think and share our ideas, but we need to do it in a way that's easy to receive for the other person, especially if it's going to be outside of their norm, for the other person to be able to receive that information with as little like ego work or whatever they might have to do and get out of the way in order to receive your message. So, if you want to communicate, you want to both be thinking about what you're communicating and also how you're communicating it. And it needs to be easy. It's better. You'll just be more effective and happier with your communication if it's easier for the other person to hear it rather than having to sort through a bunch of their personal stuff or insults or whatever to get to the kernel of what you're trying to say. So this is like maybe dreaming about being a better communicator, dreaming about thinking about when you might want to know more, you might want to have some sort of intellectual mastery over a situation that then you can communicate in a way that's easier to receive. But the King of Swords, mastery of concepts and communication, and also being able to communicate, being able to think, see both sides, and there's a precision of thought that's tempered with mercy. So this is either someone that you're hoping for or someone that you're hoping to become. I mean, we would all hope to become, I think, the King of Swords, being able to effectively communicate our ideas and being able to be balanced and fair and understand extenuating circumstances. So what's at issue here is the Seven of Cups. You may not be feeling like you have a lot of options or a lot of choices. This would be being overwhelmed, feeling emotionally overwhelmed through overthinking, if it were in the upright, but it's in the reverse. So we could just be having an intense emotional overwhelm through overthinking. And of course, our King of Swords here would have like some very clear thinking and some very clear abilities, but this is jumbled thinking, you might not be feeling like you have a lot of options. You know, I'm hearing like, I had no choice. I have no choice. You always have choices. You always have options. If it helps, list at least 3 possible responses to a situation or 3 possible routes you could take. 2 of them might be shitty, but at least you realize and that you do have choices and that you are making them, right? Because that mentality of I don't have a choice can be self-limiting, and it's a lie. So, which isn't going to be healthy for you to be telling yourself or anybody else. So 7 of Cups here, feeling like you might not have a choice, or feeling very confused about what you're supposed to do in this situation, how you're supposed to move forward, right? Because it's the 7 of Cups reversed. We're trying to move forward. We're trying to move out of a norm or out of a current situation towards something, and we just may not be able to see the route. It could be very confusing. There could be a lot of emotional overwhelm here. And there's just like or you could be coming out of that and starting to see something a little more clearly, starting to understand something. It just looks like a mess, like an emotional, intellectual mess. There's just a lack of clarity here, and I can't even like, you know, in the upright, that's what it would be. And in the reverse, it just seems more severe, or a sense of not having options. I mean, maybe that's even easier. It's intellectually lazy, but, you know, if we are overwhelmed by the options, to just pick one and say we didn't have any other choice, right? So that could be what's going on. Is just beneath all of that, there's just an overwhelming sense of I just don't know what to do. I'm not very clear on what's going on here. I'm not very clear on what my choices are. And so it's very easy to just shut that all off and say, oh, I just didn't have a choice, when in fact you had like too many of them and they were difficult to sort through. So you just shut it down. So in your environment, though, I really like this. We've got 2 kings here. So we've got two people two people are showing up here. So male or female, it doesn't matter, but, we have this King of Cups energy. This is the emotional maturity I was talking about earlier, right? When I was talking about all the cups we have in here, all of the intense emotions, they could be very unsettling for you. Dear Capricorn. But we have this King of Cups in your environment. This is somebody that you know, someone in your environment, maybe someone trying to help you. They are very able to handle their own emotions. They have intense emotions just like anybody else does, just like your whole situation is full of right now. These tense emotions. They have them, but they don't let them rock them. They are neither a slave to their emotions, nor are they a control freak about them. Of course, both of those come from that overwhelm, that sense of overwhelm and not quite knowing what to do. So we just do whatever they tell us our emotions tell us to do immediately without thinking about it, which can be intuition. Sometimes it can get very confusing. Don't beat yourself up if you misstep on this. Or it could be someone who's super controlling their emotions because they're just too overwhelming. Like we were talking about, the 7 of Cups is like a real rich brew of emotion going on here that is just almost a cesspool. But there is somebody, you know, there's somebody here. They could be mentoring you on how to interact with your emotions in a healthy way, how to work with them, including the more intense ones like anger and fury and these more intense emotions that are notoriously difficult to work through, work with, express helpfully, express in a way that can be heard, if it needs to be expressed at all, but they're very difficult to deal with. But you do have someone who is a master at that nearby. They can be very zen in the rockiest situation. You need to be relying on them, advising them, or consulting with them, especially with this Lorelei energy, this, so much emotional intensity in this reading, my goodness. So, but there is somebody here that's got some emotional maturity. Tap that. They can help. And what's your to-do list? Oh, I just got this in a personal. Who loves this one? Hanged man. You got to hang out here. Like, you don't know what to do. So just hang out, figure it out, sitting here thinking about how you got here. There's someplace you want to go. Look at. We've got the castle here, this security, this place of security and safety. We know we want to go there. Someplace with this one's in the sky, this one's in her mind. We can, when we imagine it, it feels so grounded, so secure. We want to be grounded. We want that energy of security and groundedness. We're dreaming of that in both of these cards. This though is the Hanged Man. We don't have a path there, right? Oh, look, we've got another anchor. That anchor hasn't found any ground yet. This anchor is dangling. This anchor has not found the bottom yet. There's no what do I want to say? It's not anchored. It's an anchor that's not anchoring. It's unanchored. It's up in the air here. And we know where we want to go. We know that we want to get there, but there's something that's keeping us right where we're at. So this Hanged Man here is think about how you got here, engaging with this King of Swords energy, of thinking things through, thinking about things, feeling things, combining those, being merciful with yourself as well as others. But sitting here in this Hanged Man energy, your job right now, the energy you're supposed to be interacting with is to hang out. There's no security here. You're not going to be here forever, but you do need to hang out here. There is a sense of, it's not necessarily rest time. You need to be thinking things through, figuring things out, but there is definitely this sense of you want to go to this security. There's a lot of, there's something that's way up in the air right now. There's a very ungrounded energy. You want to be more grounded, but you got to hang out in this spot, this Hanged Man spot for a while. And I hear you loud and clear here. You do not like it. And then where you're going, Page of Cups. There's this real innocence with this card, new emotions, new feelings. This could be a person, a younger person who, has, this could be who you're protecting. You might be protecting this younger person here. The page is could be a person. It could be you. It could be you going back to sort of beginner mind as far as emotional maturity, relearning some things, relearning how to handle emotions, relearning how to handle surprising emotions, getting curious about your emotions. You're here for a while. Why not get curious about your emotions and see what's going on? Do some digging in there. Understand yourself a little better, understand where these feelings are coming from, why they're there. This Page of Cups could also represent a younger person, the student vibe at the very beginning, having a lot of surprising emotions, surprising feelings, and needing the mentoring. I mean, I like how you're hanging out here in this. You want the security, you want the groundedness, you don't get it right now. You are heading more towards this curiosity vibe, but there's three people here. There's the King of Swords that you're thinking about, how to become that, or who can provide this balanced, logical thinking while also taking into account extenuating circumstances. This could be someone you're thinking about hiring, or someone, a judge or something like that you're hoping for, that's able to be very fair. You do have someone here with a lot of emotional maturity that can act as a mentor, and then you do have someone else here with a lot of emotional immaturity, this Page of Cups energy, and approaching that with a lot of curiosity and compassion and just, I love it's a Care Bear on a rainbow. So approaching emotions with curiosity and compassion. So there's someone here that can mentor either this page or you and help you get back to sort of square one and maybe relearn some habits you might have about how you deal with your feelings. So, all right, Capricorn, I hope that was helpful for you. Thank you so much for your likes, subscribes, and comments. My page did just hit its 1 year mark, and the subscriber goal that I had set at the beginning, which seemed unachievable, but I hit it by one person more. So that was kind of exciting. The specificity of that was a little interesting. So anyway, happy birthday to the channel. Have a great couple weeks.